Hey everyone, my name is Teddy and I'm a member of the Yale Debate Association. In this video, I want to provide a short introduction on constructing arguments. The key concept that I hope you get from this video is that effective arguments have three parts. The first is a claim, which is also sometimes called a tagline. You'll read this at the top of your argument and it's essentially just a short summary of the main point of the argument. The reason this is important is it helps highlight to the judge that you're reading a separate argument and makes it easier for them to take notes on what you're saying. And I provided an example from a topic that I debated in the past on sanctioning Venezuela. Feel free to pause just to look through the example claims I've given. The second part of an effective argument is a warrant, or reasoning that helps explain why the argument is true. Arguments are often true for more than one reason, and in this case, we say that they have multiple warrants. Again, I've provided examples from that topic, which you can feel free to pause to look through. The third part of an argument is the impact. The impact is the consequence of your argument, and your job in reading the impact is to try to convince the judge of why your argument is important. Again, I provided an example that you can pause the video for. I provided another example here of a sample argument on a topic proposing replacing the current American welfare system with a universal basic income. I want you to pause the video and to try to find the claim, the warrant, and the impact in this argument. The claim is in orange, the warranting is in red, and the impact is in blue. Now, as a follow-up question, I want you to pause the video and try to look for a way that you could maybe improve the argument. The argument is okay as is, and I know that this is a little bit tricky, but there's something that it's a little bit missing. Okay, so in the warranting, this argument provides two reasons why the current welfare system has holes, but it fails to explain how a universal basic income fills these holes. Even if this seems obvious, it's important to highlight to a judge because you need to prove that your warranting is quote-unquote unique. That means that your argument points out a harm that will occur if the opponents get their way, but that won't happen if the judge adopts the position that you're taking. So based on this need to prove uniqueness, we can actually break warranting out into two things. First, there's the uniqueness, which explains why the other side doesn't solve the problem that you're pointing out. But second also is the solvency, which explains why that problem doesn't also exist on your side. If the problem exists on both sides, we say that the argument is non-unique or symmetric. Sometimes the solvency might seem obvious, but that brings me to my first piece of advice about constructing arguments. You'd definitely rather say too much than too little. This is especially true at the impact level, where it's important to justify why your impact matters to the judge. For example, suppose your impact is that people fall into poverty, but the other side regards how people might die on their side. You might want to point out that becoming impoverished can cause people to die. If they fall into poverty, they might not be able to eat as much or might not be able to afford healthcare, both of which can cause their health to deteriorate. The third piece of advice I have is to try to break down your argument as much as possible, leaving nothing to the judge's imagination. If there's a missing link, then that's something the opponents can attack. You can even think of this in terms of drawing out the links of an argument and trying to draw arrows where one leads to another. I provided an example here that you can pause the video to look through. You can even create warrants within warrants. So for example, you could take the previous argument I gave about replacing welfare with a universal basic income, and you could give sub-reasons for that first reason about strict eligibility requirements, explaining why they're a severe issue, why they won't get politically reformed, and why they're different on the side of a universal basic income, why it wouldn't have those strict eligibility requirements. Thank you so much. Good luck at the tournament, and I hope this video was helpful. Thank you.